Child, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Okay. Y'all, in case you all have not heard, look at the title. Former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan was indicted and sentenced to 7.5 years in prison, and he is already 83 years old. So that's pretty much life for him. Maybe God will bless him to live to see 100. And he goes to prison and comes out and still be able to finish growing old. But yeah, no, here's what we are in life. He's 83. He was just sentenced to 7.5 years for corruption. So I wanted to start this video off because, I don't think people understand, from what I've heard, the definition of corruption. I don't know why. It's something that can just be Googled. But I am more than happy to do it because I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. Look, girl, moving here to Atlanta, bringing that plague and curse of corruption from the state of Illinois with you is not going to spare you anything. Okay? They don't have a problem indicting and convicting and sentencing an 83-year-old man. What makes you think that somehow you're going to evade anything? And you guys know how long Michael Madigan had been under FBI investigation? Years. That's why we can't sit here and be hypocritical when it comes to one person being under investigation and saying, oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense for them to take 2-3 years for that corruption. But when it comes to her, a little tip tough. Oh no, it's been a year. It's been a year. They ain't gonna do that. What the heck? It's not, it's not as if you can't just go on the FBI website to see exactly, how long a typical, investigation for white collar crimes, usually takes. Or you can just look at precedents in case law on previous indictments where people have been convicted. Or we can just pay attention to what the hell happened to Michael Madigan. So it's just laughable to me. Like, people forget how the FBI operates when it comes to her, but because reasons. Yeah, it's fair game with anyone else. I don't understand. Oh man, let's get to it. Okay, so first I want to start off with the legal definition of corruption. Because maybe we should start with that so that people can understand exactly the scope of what the FBI is looking into when you speak about corruption itself. And I'm giving the legal definition. This is from the Cornell Law School website, kind of like my go-to legal information institute when it comes to breaking down certain legal concepts and definitions so that you guys can understand how it could be seen and litigated in court. And it just helps to kind of get an understanding of why it might be taking the FBI. Why color crimes take a minute, y'all? It's not something that just typically happens within months, a few months to a year even. So let them finish doing what they are going to do. At the very least, I foresee her going to prison. But let them finish. And maybe I'm wrong. But maybe I'm right. But let's at least have the facts of what corruption is while we sit here and wait. All right, so corruption is a dishonest, fraudulent, or even criminal act of an individual or organization using entrusted authority or power to make a personal gain or other unethical or illegal benefits. Corruption happens not only in political fields, but also in social and economic fields, such as business, education, media, and so on. A lack of transparency and effective regulations are often the main causes of corruption. So as you can see here, corruption is a dishonest, fraudulent, or even criminal act of an individual or organization. Let's just hard stop right there. It does not say that it has to involve money. Because I think people are, getting lost in the melee of it all, thinking, well, what type of corruption? How much money did she steal? That's not what corruption is legally defined to be in the first place. You understand how this works now? So it's just simply a dishonest, fraudulent, or even criminal act, whether it be of an individual or organization. using entrusted authority or power to make a personal gain or other unethical or illegal benefits. It does not always have to translate to money. Now, seeing the definition, we're going to get into Michael Madigan. Yeah, Illinois got some corrupt people up there. And she want to come down here to Georgia with that? Listen. Oh, boy. I can say that Fannie Willis has never been under FBI investigation. It does not mean she has not done something corrupt. It says here, a dishonest. That can be a dishonest act, a fraudulent act, or even criminal act of an individual or organization. So to say that Fannie Willis has not been corrupt against the legal definition is incorrect. Then that we don't fight facts. I mean, I don't know how else to interpret this either. I just interpret it as it's written. But you know, if definitions of terms are hard, I mean, what I do is look it up. Yeah, it's an insanity of people thinking corruption is only involving money. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. And all they get some understanding. All you have to do is Google. All you have to do is Google it. This is it. Simple. It's simple. Okay. Oh, Lord. Corruption, 1, undermines institutions' reputations, instability, and working efficiency. 2, prevents economic development and wealth collection. 3, distorts individuals' freedom and rights. You know, when you're infringing upon free speech, free press, free will. little diva. Arresting people because clapping. When that's free speech. Just stupid. And 4, attacks democracy and justice. Y'all see this here? This is essentially what when you're going into an investigation, this is what you're starting off with. These 4 parameters. How is the dishonest, fraudulent, or even criminal act of that individual organization somehow falling within these 4 parameters here? This is the outcome of corruption. So, no, you don't get to inflict your will upon others when it comes to free speech and expression with clapping in a board meeting. That's available to the public. That's not how the hell that works. And let's not pretend like little Tip did not do that herself. I'm trying not to call her super stupid. I get called B's and MFs. I don't want to hear anybody's mouth when I say super stupid. I don't want to hear it. So when it comes to that, she has tried to prevent people from speaking out at a meeting as well. It's a bad habit. And it's just, you know, God, you see so much of it going up there in Illinois. What's going, you know, I don't know what needs to happen up there other than a big prayer session and a cleansing. But y'all got to find a way to get rid of all this corruption up there because it's just trickling down here to Atlanta. And I hope to God you all take her back. Look, girl, please leave us alone in Atlanta. Just get on. Of course, they have some other additional information you guys can always read and research and look up. But this is what corruption is in the eyes of the law and how, you know, it's defined and the outcome of it, you know, what it causes. It wreaks havoc. The end. So let's go over to the next tab here. Madigan tops naughty list of Illinois federal corruption targets in 2024, for goodness sake. Naughty. You 83 years old, man. Why would you want to do anything? It is, you know what? Let me not ask that because it could be just something embedded in him because he's probably been doing this for decades. And it's just now coming to a point where someone has to put him in place. 7 years in prison should do the trick. All right. Good job. Naughty list. Let's see. While most Illinoisans, am I saying that right? Illinoisans? Yeah, Illinoisans are preparing to share gifts. Multiple probes into Illinois corruption remind us just how many powerful public servants wanted to receive gifts in 2024. Ranked as the second most corrupt state in the nation. Of the 50 states in the United States of America, Illinois is ranked the second most corrupt. I don't even want to look at the first. We just, the fact that you guys made top 2. Oh my God. And it just never ends. The second most corrupt state in the nation. Illinois corrupt politicians stand out in a crowded field for exploiting taxpayers' goodwill. You know what? I mean, why not just have a mass exodus again? I understand people want to fight for, their home and their communities. But when people start moving out, all those tax dollars are going to go with it. You would think that these politicians would learn that. Nah, they don't care. This is why you got to be careful who you vote for. And you got to do your homework. You got to ask questions. Politicians need to stop acting like they don't have, they can't somehow do campaigning and speak with the people, Napoleon. You're in the second most corrupt state in the nation. And you don't think that people should be asking questions in a public meeting? And you're telling them, we'll get back to you. I'm sorry. Did anyone ever get back to the lady that asked the question in the last Thornton Township meeting? How did that go? Did anyone ever get back to her about that? Okay. Second most corrupt state in the nation, Napoleon. Oh, Lord. Michael Madigan. He's a nearly 2-month long federal corruption trial of former. Yeah, the trial was almost 2 months long. Okay, so you can imagine how long the investigation was. Corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan, the nation's longest-serving legislative speaker, is predicted to come to a close in mid-January 25. Madigan is under indictment on 23 counts. This is 2024. Article came out in 2024. Indicted under 23 counts, including federal racketeering and bribery charges. See that? See, this is not the way to go. You're 83 years old, Michael Madigan. Prison is going to be real hard for you, bro. Why would anybody want to go to prison at 83? I don't know. But all bad things definitely will come to an end in the way where you will not, appreciate it or like it at all. Prison is one of those ends. Prosecutors allege Madigan ran a criminal enterprise, because RICO is just seeming to be a common pattern up there, exchanging influence on key legislation for job opportunities for constituents and other allies. The former speaker and his longtime political operative, Michael McLean, are accused of pressuring developers to hire Madigan's law firm, as well as conspiring with Commonwealth Edison and AT&T Illinois to provide no-work jobs for the speaker's associates in return for legislative support in Springfield. What? No work job. So you're going to give me a job and just be paying me tax dollars to do nothing. Got it. Somehow that's not corrupt. You serious? This is the example now that's being set in the second most corrupt state in the nation. And no one thinks that little tip got it coming. Super stupid. Girl. And you came to Atlanta. Go away. Get out of our state. Girl, bye. Bye, Felicia. Oh, Lord have mercy. Bringing that cursing plague down here. Don't listen. Don't go running for nothing down here, because we already know who you are. Lower court documents state Madigan netted $2.85 million in illegitimate funds. $2.85 million in illegitimate funds. This never ends. Okay, let's go to the other article here where he was actually indicted. There's 7.5 years in prison after corruption conviction. He was indicted, convicted, and sentenced. 7.5 years. June 13th, 25. This is June 28th. How did I miss this? Okay. A federal judge in Chicago today sentenced former Speaker of the Illinois House of Rep, Michael J. Madigan, to 7.5 years in federal prison for using his official position to corruptly solicit and receive personal financial rewards for himself and his associates. A jury in U.S. District Court in Chicago earlier this year convicted Madigan of conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. Jeez. Using interstate facilities to promote unlawful activity, wire fraud, and bribery. Lord, evidence at the 4-month trial revealed. You guys understand wire fraud is so easy to prove. I mean, it's basically electronic communication, whether it be emails, text messages, fax, even though nobody uses fax, but let's say you do e-fax, right? That falls under wire fraud. You're perpetuating a crime with electronic communications. That's like the easiest to nail. Why do you think the FBI wanted to subpoena emails and text messages and communication when it came to little SS and her friends? I mean, it's the when you're talking about RICO or you're talking about any corruption, and you're facilitating a crime, you're using these phones, especially government issue phones. All of that stuff can be FOIA'd. You all know that? It can be FOIA'd. And then you're talking about emails and texts and all these things, and don't have somebody recording calls. Yeah, okay. You done pissed off the right people and get some phone calls recorded. That's like a nail in the coffin right there. That's it. Because, I mean, especially if you can get some video. Oh, my God. Evidence at the 4-month trial revealed that Madigan, who served as House Speaker and occupied a number of other political roles, conspired with others to cause the utility company Commonwealth Edison to make monetary payments to Madigan's associates as a reward for their loyalty to Madigan in return for performing little or no legitimate work for the business. The true nature of the payments was to influence and reward Madigan in connection with specific legislation ComEd sought in the Illinois General Assembly. Yeah, this is why those bills going through the Illinois General Assembly, landing on Pearhead's desk, should be thoroughly vetted and carefully read if the Attorney General truly wants to help crack down on corruption. Because you don't know what's in them. Nope. Madigan, 83, somebody's grandpa, of Chicago, also schemed with an alderman of the Chicago City Council to steer legal work to Madigan's private law firm and Madigan's son in exchange for Madigan's assistance in inducing the governor of Illinois, Pearhead, Pritzker. Oh, see, you don't know how to act. He's got a bill sitting on his desk regarding squatters' rights. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to act. That's why I caution anyone that's sitting here trying to even... You're not going to second guess or question the bill? Really? We're not going to do that? We're just going to let it pass? Not try to figure out what's really in it? Okay. Oh, my God. So, here the governor comes up. Because he don't know how to act. Pearhead does not know how to act. But he didn't want to do anything in little tip-tufts, little, FBI investigation. And at the time, investigation being conducted by Lori Lightfoot. Seriously? You had no words, Pritzker. None. Now, okay. Probably because you're coming up in other corruption schemes. A man who's 83 now that's been sentenced to 7 years in prison. 7.5 years. Forgive me. 7.5 years. Oh, my God. In inducing the governor of Illinois, Pearhead, to appoint the alderman to a compensated state board position. Did it work? I mean, did he really sit here and fall for that? After reviewing, probably, Madigan's criminal conduct and finding that Madigan perjured himself repeatedly in his trial testimony because he thought he would just be able to get away with this, U.S. District Judge John Robert Blakely imposed the 7.5-year prison sentence and fined Madigan $2.5 million, dear Lord. Oh, well done. Actually, it should have been the 2.85 that he actually garnered that they mentioned. Say then they say he reaped in 2.85 million. Didn't they say that? Yeah, it's like why he didn't have to pay that same amount back plus some. Something to that extent. Either way, they got his ass. The sentence was announced by Andrew S. Boutros, U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, Douglas S. DePodesta, Special Agent in charge of the Chicago Field Office of the FBI. Look at that. And Ramsey E. Covington, Special Agent in charge of the IRS Criminal Investigation Division in Chicago. So, a lot of times these, types of these white collar crimes do involve some sort of tax evasion or, failure to report the money as taxes itself. And oftentimes the IRS will pick up whatever the FBI is laying down. So if you don't think you got it coming from the FBI, a little super stupid. You got it coming from the IRS. I mean, they'll get you. Don't think you beyond the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. They might be more powerful than the FBI. This is something else. The government was represented today by Assistant U.S. Attorneys Sarah Streaker, Diane MacArthur, and Julia Schwartz. I'm not going to keep trying to repeat their names because I don't want to butcher it. Corruption at the highest level of the state legislature tears at the fabric of a vital governing body. Corruption at the highest level of the state legislature tears at the fabric of a vital governing body because Pearhead, for reasons, I guess, just wanted to be involved in something, but he's not really paying attention to what the hell he's doing, huh? It was the grit and determination of our team of prosecutors and law enforcement agents led by our former colleague Amarjeet S. Bachu, who served as the chief of the U.S. Attorney's Office Public Corruption and Organized Crime Section. Oh, boy. That's a whole lot. It's crime section until earlier this year that allowed this case to reach a jury and send a clear message that the criminal conduct by former Speaker Madigan was unacceptable. I couldn't be prouder of the strong commitment of our law enforcement partners of the FBI and IRS criminal investigation. IRS criminal investigation, a badass, and we love it. Our office and our partners remain steadfast in our commitment to vigorously prosecute corruption at all levels of government and hold public officials accountable for violating the public trust. You pissed us off. Now you're going to prison for 7.5 years. You broke many laws. All this corruption. Think you can just, curtail that? He's probably been doing it for what? 20, 25, 30 plus years? He's 83, people. So he may have been doing it half of my lifetime, I guess. That's a long time to be sitting here effing up like this and then think nothing's supposed to happen. Then his attorney, I think I read in the other article, his attorney said, oh, it's just inhumane. He's 83 years old. That's like a life sentence. Okay, well, he's been corrupted. He's been corrupt all his life. I mean, or at least half his life. All this corruption he's been doing for at least a good 20, 25 years. What are we talking about here? This is light work. All right. Super stupid. I hope you're paying attention, girl. Like I said, I don't want to hear nothing. I get caught B's and MFs all day. Fuck out of here. This is insane. And if you're friends with him or he mentored you or you trying to take a page from his book, coming down to Atlanta is not going to do you any good. All you're going to do is make them mad and then they have to come down here and have you extradited back up there to Illinois. Don't piss off the FBI and the IRS. Just go back up there and go willingly. Man, this is something else, y'all. All right. So this is all I got. 24 minutes. Doing well. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit the like button. Yeah, you just have an attitude about me calling her super stupid all day. I get over it quick when I get called to be work. It is what it is. But this is insanity. It doesn't take away from the corruption of it all. The corruption of it all. Like we can't sit here and give people a pass because we don't want them to, be penalized for their actions. No, let that happen. And if you don't understand, certain terms and definitions, Google. I have to look stuff up. I have to look it up. And it happens. It all comes out of that. So I'm going to be doing members only live tonight. I hope you guys are members. we're going to be tuning in to a very funny video we started last week. And I want to finish up with the members of LLC. Thank you all so much for supporting me here. Hit the like button. Let's share this. You know, please look up the definition of the word corruption if you don't know it. You can hate my guts all day, but law's a loss. It is what it is. Their head up here being called and now it's been named and stuff. You giving up people jobs with no, you giving, basically they're just getting paid to do nothing. That's so annoying. Because I have to work hard on my job and I don't understand. And I'm still paycheck to paycheck. These people are just giving a handout. It's so annoying. Either way, thank you all so much for tuning in. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.